thing I'd like to do is take a moment of silence for all the people that serve our country and given their all, and the folks that we've lost in our community. Thank you. The second thing, it's in our town report. I'd just like to, as the chair of the select board, the Swanton Select Board would like to express its gratitude to all the town employees, appointed board members, and elected officials for their dedicated public service. It requires a lot of tremendous amount of coordination between our employees, our elected officials, our appointed officials, volunteers, dedicating their time and talents to keep our local government functioning properly and effectively. We also are grateful for the input received from the Swanton citizens of the town, operations, and citizens who are interested in volunteering for services, particularly the town or committee, may contact our town administrator, David Jescavage. With that all being said, I'd ask everybody to stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we have basically 4 things on the agenda, and at this time I'm going to turn the podium over to Brian Savage, which is our town moderator. Here you go, Brian.
Thank you very much, Dan. The legal voters of the town of Swanton School District, who are legal voters in town meeting, are hereby notified and warned to meet at the Swanton Village Municipal Complex, 1st and Elm Streets in Swanton on Tuesday, March 4th, 2014, at 7 a.m. to vote on the articles herein set forth. All articles are to be voted by Australian ballot system. The polls are open at 7 a.m. and close at 7 p.m. Article 1, to elect from the legal voters of the said town the following officers. Moderator for the town and town school district, 1 town clerk for a 3-year term, 1 town treasurer for a 3-year term, 1 selectman for a 3-year term, 1 selectman for a 2-year term, 1 selectman for a 1-year term, 1 lister for a 3-year term, 1 lister for a 1-year term, 1 auditor for a 3-year term, 1 school director, for a 3-year term, 1 school director for a 2-year term, 1 trustee of public money for a 3-year term, 1 library trustee for a 5-year term, 1 cemetery commissioner for a 5-year term, town grand juror, town agent, and a collector of delinquent taxes. Article 2, will the town appropriate $810,470?
You're on the wrong book.
Oh. Somebody turned the page.
Let's see the front page.
The front page.
You're on 2013.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
2014.
Well, we're starting off good.
Yeah, start off all over again. Town meeting's the 3rd.
Yeah. Okay, well, that was just a rehearsal.
Very good. Warming up the vocal cords.
Okay, we'll try this again. The legal voters of the town of Swanton School District, who are legal voters in town meeting, are hereby notified and warned to meet in the Swanton Village Municipal Complex, 1st and Elm Street, in Swanton on Tuesday, March 3rd, 2015, at 7 a.m. to vote the articles herein set forth. All articles are to be voted by the Australian ballot system. The polls open at 7 a.m., close at 7 p.m. To elect from the legal voters of the said town and the following officers. Moderator, town and town of Swanton, town school district, 1 selectman for a 3-year term, 1 selectman for a 2-year term, 1 lister for a 1-year term, 1 auditor for a 3-year term, 1 school director for a 3-year term, 1 school director for a 2-year term, 1 trustee of public money for a 3-year term, 1 library trustee for a 5-year term, 1 library trustee for a 1-year unexpired term, 1 cemetery commissioner for a 5-year term, a town grand juror, town agent, and collector of delinquent taxes. Article 2, will the town appropriate $742,396.95 for the operation and maintenance of the town highway department? Article 3, will the town appropriate $176,985 for fire protection, $42,968 of which is for a fire truck replacement fund? Article 4, will the town appropriate an amount not to exceed $22,500 to the fire department for a one-time purchase of extrication tools used for heavy rescue. Article 5, will the town appropriate $118,139 to provide police protection to the residents of the town of Swanton? Article 6, will the voters of the Swanton School District appropriate $8,318,735 necessary for the support of Swanton schools for the school year July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016? Will the voters of the Swanton School District authorize the school directors to borrow money in anticipation of taxes? Will the voters, Article 8, will the voters of the Swanton School District appropriate $90,000 to the existing capital reserve funds for the purpose of addressing future buildings and grounds improvements? Article 9, will the town appropriate $300,600.66 for the town general expenses? Article 10, shall the town collect its real and personal property taxes to defray the expenses of the town for the fiscal year commencing January 1, 2015, and annually thereafter by its actual receipt of payment? Postmarks will not be accepted at the town offices by 5 p.m. on October 15th, or the 15th shall fall on the weekend or holiday the following business day by 5 p.m., with an 8% penalty and a 1% interest per month or portion thereof due thereon for the first 3 months, and 1.5% per month or portion thereof thereafter to be charged for the late payment of any installment. Article 11, will the town appropriate $234,000 to provide rescue services to the residents of the town of Swanton? Article 12, will the town appropriate $104,925 toward the operation and maintenance budget of the Recreation Department? And Article 13, will the town appropriate $126,875.14 toward the operating and maintenance budget of the Swanton Public Library? The legal voters of the town of Swanton are further notified that an informational meeting will be held at the Swanton Village Municipal Complex on Monday, February 23rd at 7 p.m. for explaining all the budget items to the voters. Dated as Swanton this 20th day of January 2015. The selectmen signed Daniel Bilodeau, Chair, L. John Lavoy, Joel A. Clark, William Thompson Jr., and James Gilmat. And the school directors, Jay Cummings, Chair, Tobias McGuire, Vice Chair, Mary Wood, Patty Jo Walker, and John Creelman. Was dated and filed the 20th of January 2015 and attested to by Kathy L. Fournier, Town Clerk. Okay. We read the right one, now we can get going. First, I'd just like to introduce everybody who's seated up here. To my left, at my immediate left, is Dan Bilodeau, who's the chair of the Select Board. Joel Clark is the vice chair, seated next to him. Then we have John Lavoy, James Gilmat, and everybody knows him as Turk Thompson. And seated at the very end of the table is our town clerk, Kathy Lavoy, sitting... Excuse me. Kathy Cheney. Kathy Fournier.
One out of three's right. Actually,
Well, 2 out of the 3 were right.
Are you running again this year?
Election is next year, thankfully. Running the computer equipment, we have the town administrator, David Jaskavich. Then over at the small table, recording this, is the board secretary, Yasha Wheeler. And then to my right, we have the school directors, John Creelman is the chair. Excuse me, John Creelman is the board member, Jay Cummings is chair, and Tobias McGuire is the vice chair. And then we have Brent Kuhn, who is the principal of the Swanton School, Becky Hart, the business manager, and then seated next to Becky is Laura McAllister, the assistant business manager. And as the budgets roll up, we have in the audience with us this evening Lynn Bilodeau, who would be representing Missisquoi Valley Rescue. She's the vice president. Chief Joey Stell, he's wearing 2 hats tonight. He is the Swanton Village Police Chief. He's also the Missisquoi Rescue Administrator. And we got Tim Gerard, the Swanton Fire Chief. And I see seated behind Tim is the Second Assistant Chief, Jason Cross. And then I see our Road Commissioner, Harold Garrett. No.
He's our
Road Foreman, Harold Garrett, and then our tax collector, Betty Cheney. And then I think we got everybody.
Brian, we have Wayne Goodrich on Skype.
Oh, Wynn is on Skype. Okay.
He'll be coming up later. Hello.
Hi, good evening, Wynn. Thank you for joining us. So without any further ado, and before I make any more mistakes, we'll get right in, and the Swanton School District Fiscal Year 2015 budget presentation. So, take it away.
Can I just hang here?
You can, wherever you like.
Actually, that might be nice.
Yeah, I can just go over to the side, or you want to stay there? Doesn't
Tell
make any
me.
difference.
Nope, I can stay right here. It's
Okay.
fine. So, good morning, everybody. I'm Jay Cummings, current board chair at Swanton School. And before I get to the really good news, I'd like to speak briefly about our team. And then after that, I'll accept questions from the front row. Our board consists of 5 diversified individuals that represent a very broad cross-section of the area. The board functions very well. We don't always agree, but we always make it a priority that each board member's thoughts, concerns, and ideas are heard. Our SU staff and administrators are amongst the best in the area. Principals Brent Kuhn and Dina St. Amor have done an excellent job running the school. Our new superintendent, Wynton Goodrich, in my opinion, is also a top performer guiding us through this budgeting process. And you couldn't do it without the numbers. And Laura McAllister and Becky Hart in the business office handled a very complex task of putting all those numbers together so the state knows what we're doing. It's part magic and part something else. It's very complicated, the education formula. Tonight, I'm proud of this team for helping balance the cost versus quality proposition. My sense in the community is that there's some stress about the rising of property taxes. Last year, we presented a very modest budget of just about a 1% increase, and it passed by only 4 votes. We made it a priority this year to get a budget that should pass on the first try. The board has tasked the administration with finding a way to present to you here tonight a 0% increase. And anyone taking issue with the cuts should direct their concerns directly to the board and not the administrators. And I believe we're presenting a very responsible budget for all parties involved. So on the second slide here, I'm not going to read them all to you, but our board goal was to provide a high-quality education at a reasonable cost to the taxpayers. And here tonight, we're presenting a budget of $8,318,735. As I had mentioned, a 0% increase from last year. Next, I'd like to introduce the Vice Chair, Toby McGuire, to continue on.
Hi, everyone. As Jay said, I'm Toby. Tobias, I go by Toby, though it's fine. We're going to start the presentation with bragging about some of our accomplishments. There's a lot of good things going on in the school, and if you don't hear about them from your neighbors, kids, or other members connected to the school, you can always go to the school website. They're always updating that with a lot of great news. This first one is the Healthier U.S. School Challenge Gold Medal Award. Swanton was one of only 2 schools in Vermont to receive this national award, and it promotes student and staff wellness and good nutrition. The next one that was really exciting was the Verizon App Challenge. If you have a smartphone, you probably know what an app is. Well, we've been recognized 3 straight years for our school technology innovation through this award program. There's some really neat things going on for the kids as far as technology. Our budget priorities. One of the main things that we talked about, and not just locally here in Swanton, but all over the state, is student and staff ratios. So we got a lot of data to help us find out where we might want to be. And we went from there. That's a tricky one because it's a constant balancing act between quality and what we think the community can afford. And the experts will try to give you a number that might be perfect for a student-staff ratio, but it's very difficult, and we have some principals that really worked on that to help us address the issue because of declining number of students, but we'll get to that a little bit later. How did we accomplish 0%? Well, there was a variety of ways, but the big one was an early departure agreement we had that 3 professionals accepted. And by doing that, we replaced only 1 position, and we made some other internal staff changes. We reduced all paraprofessionals' workday by 30 minutes, and we estimate that to save approximately $35,000 annually. Part of that was due to the length of the day, length of the school day, and we reduced a number of line items. 21st century learning. We want to keep our students and staff up to a pace with all the changes, particularly in technology. So we wanted to make sure the budget allows that to continue to happen through professional development to ensure our staff have current social and emotional skill training. Maintenance of our information technology is huge, and trying to keep up with computers so the kids have the equipment that they need to be able to compete in the world, especially when they move on up to high school. And we're looking to expand our one-to-one computer initiative for some of our lower grades, in particular for grade 4, 5, and 6. Centralization of special education costs. The state mandated that all special ed professional staff salaries and benefits be moved to the SU level. So rather than appearing on separate line items in your budget, you will now see expenses consolidated into 2 new assessment lines. Our interpretation of the statute's intention, of the state's intention for the SUs, is to gain efficiency and consistency in the way special ed services are provided to our students. As I mentioned, Swanton isn't immune from a trend going on throughout the state. Student enrollment has been decreasing all over the state and even in Swanton. We have declined over the last decade, and this was very important to us to take into account when we developed our budget. And there's a lot of discussion in Montpelier as well. So we definitely, that's the biggest way to save money at our school as well, to try to get the staff student ratios in line. So this budget does take that into consideration, so the community knows that we didn't fall on deaf ears. We definitely tried to address that issue in this budget. There's some more of the trends right there to show the whole Franklin Northwest, our whole supervisory union, which includes Sheldon, Highgate, Franklin, Swanton. Am I missing anyone? Just those 4, right? NMVU, yeah. And at Swanton for the last few years, our current enrollment is approximately 488 students. And now I'm going to pass it on to Mr. Krillman. I call him Mr. Krillman. He was my 5th grade teacher at Swanton School, and now he's on the board. So he's going to run it with it from here.
All right. All right, the total current staff that we have is 120.8 staff members. And that's broken down to the professional staff, there are 64.8, support staff 23, and paraprofessionals 33. And that is a reduction from last year. And contract negotiations. All Swanton teachers and support staff contracts are negotiated through a union master agreement. And all Swanton union support staff are part of education support personnel master agreement, which is again through the through the supervisory union. Staff benefits, health insurance will increase 4.5% for next year, and the dental will decrease by 7%. Yeah. I believe that's, the health cost is quite a bit lower than last year's increase.
It's the same.
Oh, it's the same? Okay. So it is, so there's really not much of an increase. The completed capital reserve projects, they have all been completed. We had the central school parking lot upgrade in 2014, and the HVAC Phase 1 project at the Babcock School in 2015, and then Phase 2 of the Babcock HVAC was also completed. The proposed capital reserve article, these funds are designated for large-scale building projects. They pay for things like roof and boiler replacements. And that's back to Jay.
You do board goal.
Oh, I do? Okay. And the board goal is to provide a high-quality education at a reasonable cost to taxpayers. And we feel we've done that, and we hope that people will agree.
So cost comparison, compared to other schools belonging to a union, Swanton is the 94th lowest spending out of 105 Vermont schools. What that means is there's only 11 schools that spend less than us, and 93 spend more. And looking at the school district data, Swanton school education spending per equalized pupil as compared to two other schools of similar size in Vermont. As you can see, Vermont has a modest spending per pupil comparatively with fiscal year 2015 education spending per equalized pupil of $12,605 as compared to someone such as Norwich that's spending $16,995. The homestead tax rate variables, there are 7 variables that contribute to the homestead tax rate calculation, and the board only controls the very top one, which is the budget and special articles. And that's the only one directly by the board and the taxpayers that the school budget and special article cost. And the projected tax rate, after the CLA last year, the rate was 61.7 cents. The projected for this year is 61.6 cents, and that's a lower projected homestead rate than last year. So with that, if anybody has any questions or needs more information, you can contact any one of the board members. Their information's up there. Or you can call the SU and contact Whitton Goodrich for some more details on this. I believe later on, this entire PowerPoint's going to be put on the Swanton School website. Is that right, Brent? So that's all we have for you here tonight.
Okay, well, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Can I take any questions tonight from anybody?
Anybody have any questions? Bob?
Bob Nielsen. I put 4 kids through school, and I'm over 70 years old. And I feel that anybody over 70 years old is a taxpayer shouldn't really have to pay a school tax when they're not sending any kids to school. And I feel that it would be good for all people 70 years old, as I said, that are on the tax rolls, to not have to pay any more school taxes, because we paid our dues. And that's all I got to say.
Okay.
It's more of a statement than a question,
Yeah.
Bob? Yeah.
Okay.
Is there an answer?
Well, is there a question? Is that a question or a statement?
I think it could be posed as a question.
Yeah. If Bob wants it to be a question, we'll try to answer it, but if he's just,
Yeah, I'd like to see it opposed.
yeah. That's something you're gonna have to, that would be at the state level. That would have nothing to do with the local school board to be able to implement something like that. I appreciate your point of view on that, and probably the only thing I could say is that when you were 12 years old in school, there were 70-year-old people that were paying taxes when you were in there too. So overall, I think it balances out. I think you do get some reprieve on property tax with the income portion. The masterminds in the numbers might have some more details on that, but we're really getting outside of our expertise.
No ability to.
Yeah, but we have no ability to change that, but I would talk to the young lady behind you and perhaps Governor Shulman.
Okay. Harold? And
I got just a kind of a simple question. The 488 students that you got enrolled, does that include the pre-K?
No, it doesn't.
Suzanne?
Of the 4.5% health increase and the 7% dental, what percentage of that is being contributed by the actual employees?
Professional staff contributes 18%, and support staff contributes 15%.
It's 15? Thank you.
Those are the union professional and the union support.
Thank you.
Dan?
Yeah, so I don't know who wants to answer the question, but back around slide 14 or 15, and David pulled the plug on us early. You mentioned 2 projects that were completed, but it said 2015, and we're only 2 months into 2015.
Fiscal year
Fiscal year.
2015.
Okay, but were the projects actually completed, or?
In 14-15, yes.
Okay, because I was wondering, the 90,000 is a new line item for a fund for roofs or boilers or stuff like that. I didn't know if it was being used to help complete the 14-15 projects. So those were all taken care of? Okay, thank you.
Any?
Sorry.
Suzanne?
When you reduce $35,000 by 30 minutes a day, where were those minutes taken from? Were they taken from professional staff or hourly workers?
I believe it said paraprofessionals.
Paraprofessionals.
Yeah, I think the slide said paraprofessionals, and that's what it's for.
Are there any other questions for the school board? Okay. We thank you very much, and look forward to, and good luck on town meeting day next Tuesday. And we appreciate your service.
I want to say thank you to our superintendent
Yes.
who's at a
Yeah.
conference right now in San Diego, but he wanted to make sure he was here as best he could be. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Wynn, and enjoy the warm weather.
Warmer it is in San Diego than here.
Yeah.
He's suffering real bad, ain't he?
John gave me the cold, or I gave John the cold. Either way, we both got it.
Thanks, Wynn.
Okay, now we'll shift gears here and go over to the town, and with us is the town select board to do their presentation, and I will turn it over to Select Board Chair Dan Billido.
All set, David? Okay, thanks everybody for coming out tonight on a cold night. You guys are all welcome to stay. So, Town of Swanton, I truly believe that this board and all the employees of the town, all the organizations within the town worked very hard for a very successful year for the Town of Swanton. And we're very lucky to live in the community that we live in. So that being said, go ahead, David. So some of the highlights for 2014 was we took possession of our new town garage up on Route 78, September of 13, correct? Okay, so we've actually been in it for a full year, which is great. The guys have I don't know if anybody's ever done tours of the 4th Street property, but it was a very old building. Part of it was dirt floor. We welcome anybody to come up and take a look at our new town garage. We're very lucky to have it, and thanks to the taxpayers for allowing us to have it. The old garage on 4th Street has been demolished and cleaned up. The land's been all cleaned and prepped. It is up for sale, and we're asking $250,000 for that. Another big hurdle that we got through this year was the purchase of the Robin Hood site with David Foskey actually was in a plan with the town of Swanton for about 14, 15 years, John. Yep. He was leasing the property from us, and the contract stated that in 2014 that he had to purchase it, and he did. And the $150,000 that we took in from that purchase actually goes on to pay our new town garage down. And I believe that's already been put toward that. Then last year, we entered into an agreement with Energy Tech, North Country Incorporated. It's a facility that's going to be filling compressed gas. It's a huge plus for the town of Swanton as far as tax base and for the village for electrical use. We actually, it was a big deal in 14 because we did a lot of work bringing it to fulfillment, but we actually closed on it on January 9th of this year. So that's a done deal. And then the revision of the bylaws that we adopted on January 8th, received a grant for municipal planning. We level funded everywhere possible and practical within our general and as well as our highway. We'll get to that in a few minutes. The general budget came in at $19,835.64 below our proposed budget for the year, thanks to the hard work of all the people within the town. The town received approximately $9,000 in FEMA. If everybody remembers all the ice that we had last year, the road crew, you know, we build our budgets on normal wear tear work of our roads, and sometimes we get surprised with things that we have to use the taxpayers' money to go out and take care of to make the quality of life for our people the best that it can be. And we're able to get $9,000 back from FEMA to help pay for some of that. Swanton Town and Village was awarded a $30,000 grant for a feasibility study for some sidewalks. We're looking at a sidewalk from Dunkin' Donuts to Missisquoi High School, and we're looking at a sidewalk from South River Street to our depot on South River Street. This here was really cool. It was and I really mean it was cool because it was a cold day that day. But Air National Guard named a plane the F-16C jet after Swanton, and I think there's going to be pictures later on, David, and it's also in our book. It's dedicated.
No pictures up here, but.
Okay, it's on the back of the book. That was pretty cool, and a few of us went down, and they gave us a tour of their facility, and quite a place. We did some upgrades to our hardware and software and in the office, but mainly the administrative office and the zoning office. Some accomplishments in the highway department. Harold and his crew and some contractors worked on replacing the wing walls of a concrete culvert on McQuam Shore Road that was falling apart. They paved a bunch of roads. Back in, was it 13? We got a grant for the Woods Hill project, and that was kind of a 2-year project, and we completed that last year. So the Woods Hill project is complete. Comstock Road, they did some rebuild and paved there. Portions of the James Road, South River Street, and Missisquoi Street. And then one of our big purchases for 2014 was we ordered our new truck to replace, what year? 91, yeah. 91?
93.
2002, the oldest one. Actually, we traded off 2 trucks toward this new truck, and we should be receiving that sometime in March. More accomplishments. So everybody's seen our new facility up on 78. We have the new town garage. A few years back, we built a salt shed, and in 2014, Joel and Harold and his crew, Joel's our road commissioner, by the way, Joel and Harold and their crew started planning a lean-to building for the salt shed to keep a lot of our equipment under cover, which is when we have as much equipment as the town has, we have to take care of it. And so this is a must. Several small culverts replaced on several different roads. We continue our emphasis on safety. The town highway crew's been 8,357 days without incident. Our recreation trail from Robin Hood to the depot has been well-maintained and well-used. We continue to work with the village, with the road crew in the village and the town. You know, we help each other. We swap off equipment. It's the way our community should be. We also started an engineering study for South River Street, the riverbank. We've had a lot of complaints on the river side of South River Street with concern that we might be losing the road into the river. And we actually got some results in January. And the concerns that we're having are not as big of concerns as we thought they were as far as losing the road. And there's more to come on that as we go next year. So future projects for the town, as we already spoke a little bit, is we're going to construct that lean-to to protect our equipment. State municipal planning grant for the town and village project, planning commission for the Northwest Regional Planning Committee, and I believe their first meeting is March 11th, right? We already mentioned that we completed the sale of our Part D on 1/9, and we're in the process of marketing and to sell our land on 4th Street where the old town garage was. And then as well as working with the village to implement the sidewalk feasibility grant project for the 2 sidewalks that I just spoke about. And we actually have had a lot of discussion with Brian Savage in Montpelier. Is Brian still here?
Right.
Oh, there you are. How did you hide on me, man? And we were actually going to set up meetings after the election with Mariana and Brian to come to some of our select board meetings. So I would welcome people in the public to come to those meetings. David will try to get those out because there's a lot of stuff going on in Montpelier that local communities need to be involved with, in my opinion. Some of the other projects in 2015 is the paving projects that Joel and Harold's been working on. They're looking at Robin Hood Drive, Bushy Street, Donaldson Road, Sweet Hollow, Kellogg and Bushy Roads, and the maintenance on the Pond and Tabor Roads. They continue to support the enhancement committee and community visits, and if you want to take a minute to talk about that, Joel, right now. You want to put any plugs in for that?
I just want to put a plug in for the next meeting, be March 5th, right here, starting at, I believe, 7 o'clock, 6:30? Okay, 6:30 right here. So about 185 people attended the events up at the high school, and want to put a plug in for MVU and the support they gave us for that event. But as many people as possible would like to see right here on March 5th as we go into the next phase of that project.
Okay, thanks. And then the last thing in this pitch is for a future project is a few years back we entered into a contract with the state of Vermont with a Robin Hood Drive that went from Fosgate's property to Bushy Street, and within that contract it states that we have to do the phase 2 by August 2017. Yep. So the road crew and road commissioner and the select board will be discussing that in 2015 so that we can be on target for that. So now we're going to get into what everybody's here for. So the budgets, if all articles are passed or approved, the town budget will be $1,138,309.03. That'll be the general budget. The town budget would be $1,294,095.54, and I don't have to add them up for you, it's right there. The village residents' budget is $1,175,840. The Swanton school budget, we just talked about, $8,318,735. And the MVU school budget, $15,289,278. So with that being said, if all articles are approved, $1,138,309 to be raised by taxes. This is the general budget, would be $300,600.66. And the projected tax rate for 2015 would be .1192, which is down Oh, it's up about two, no, it decreases about 2/3 of a penny, less than a penny. So it'd be a 0.0068 increase. 2014 actual expenditures under budget came in, what's the matter?
Decrease.
Decrease. 2014 actual expenditures under budget by $19,835.64 below the 2014 budget, proposed budget. So now the highway. If all articles are approved, it's $1,294,095.51. To be raised by taxes will be $742,396.95. The projected tax rate would be .2344, from 2014's was .2291, which will be an increase of a little more than a half a cent. So 2014 actual expenditures under budget by $11,553.98 below the 2014 adjusted highway budget. Good job by all. The tax rates, 2015, for town residents, actual tax rate, the projected tax rate for the general would be .1192. That's on page 16 in your book. The highway would be .2344, that's on page 19. The education tax for 2015 would be 1.2590, and the town tax rate, 1.6126. Everybody with me so far? Okay, village residents. The 2015 projected is .1192 for the general. The tax rate for the village, .7426. Education, 1.2590. And the town village rate would be 2.0208. So for non-residents in 2015, town general would be .1192. Highway would be .2344, education would be 1.3990, and the town tax rate would be 1.7526. Village non-residents, the general would be .1192, village, .7426, education tax, 1.3990, and the village tax rate would be 2.2608. And where it says, Reggie, where it says just village tax, I would say that's your our highway. That's like your street and all that.
The highway, police, fire.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so this is 2015 residential properties, so this is just an example. So in 2015, why do you do this to me, David? On $200,000 assessment, in 2014, you paid $31.27 for taxes. 2015, it'd be $32.25 for an increase of $98.20. Okay, so in the village, in 14, on $200,000, you paid $41.15. In 15, you're going to pay $4,041.60, a decrease of $73.40. Non-resident properties in the town, this is based on a $200,000 house. In 14, you paid $34.51. 15, you're going to pay $35.05 for an increase of $54. In the village, in 14, you paid $43.39. In 2015, you're going to pay $45.21 for an increase of $82.40. All right, so this is where the candidates come in. Is there anybody here that wants to, get auditor for 3 years? Joyce Bombardier, is she here? No. Gary Santabar for 5 years on the Cemetery Commission. You want to talk for him, Tim? No? Tax collector, Betty? Anything? No?
Really, just thank you for your support.
Okay. Our trustees of public money, 3 years. Nobody's running, so it's a write-in. Lister, 1 year is a write-in. School director, 2 years, Mary Wood.
They're both ill tonight.
Okay. Same thing with Patty?
Yes, yep.
Library trustee, is Kathy Kneebone here? No. Library trustee for 1 year, that was 5 years. 1 year, Robert Mulkeen, is he here? No. And Rebecca Rupp? No. Selectman for 2 years, James Gilmet. Want to say anything, Jimmy? Is that?
It's been good, great running for serving the last year, and I hope to do see it for 2 more years.
All right.
Thank you for your coach.
Okay, so me, I'm up for another 3-year term, unopposed this year, which is, I think is great. It's either tells me two things. One of two things, either people don't want to do these jobs, or people think I'm doing okay at what I'm doing. I'm hoping it's the later. But I really appreciate the support that I get from my board, all the people that we work with, the planners, the DRB, tax collector, town clerk's office, police department, the fire department, rescue. You know, the community is the community. We are who we are because of you. Everybody's known me. I've done this for 8 years now. I've been your health officer for 23 years. I want to give it another shot. I hope y'all support me. I make my decisions on the best interest of the town. I think everybody that knows me knows that. So with that being said, I hope everybody comes out on Tuesday, March 3rd from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. With that being said, next up is the town agent, Gerald Barney. He's not here. Grand juror, same guy, Gerald. And the moderator for 1 year, Brian Savage. Want to say anything?
No, not much to say. Sorry about the confusion. It all started when I grabbed the wrong book.
Good thing no one's running against it.
So we do have an awesome website. David and Yasha work really hard to keep it updated. There's a lot of information on there. I've been going on it, and I even find stuff that I didn't know was on there. There's maps on there of our town and our village. There's minutes. There's agendas. There's all us people, and I believe even the school board's names are on there, names and numbers, correct? Anything you want to know. And we're actually going to be working with the chamber. Adam's not here tonight, about adding some more stuff to our website for the businesses. Link up a couple different things. So with that being said, anything else, David? Any more slides? Thank everybody for coming out. I have to follow this under Vermont law. So public comments next. Any questions from anybody? For any of us?
Question.
Cool.
I talked to Reggie about this, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago. Robin Hood Drive, we talked about sidewalks. And every time I come through there at night, there's a lot of traffic, foot traffic on that street. And there's no street lights, and there's gonna be an accident one of these days, someone's gonna get hit. And I remember, right, Reggie said, I was talking to Dick Thompson about it, and he said, "Well, boy, you're talking some money now." Yeah, everything costs money, but we seem to always do when it's really what we want, always. And Reggie said, "Well, we'll help you put it in." Remember that, Reg? So, you're talking sidewalks, you should look at something going down through there. A lot of people walk that thing at night
And it's dark.
and it's dark, and I didn't say anything about streetlights, I guess that's possible, but
Yep.
they're walking in the street, and it's dangerous.
Yep. Thank you.
By the way, I'm Ronnie Green, I live in town. Thank you, everybody.
Dan, I think the website's great. I've been using it quite a bit, so
Good.
it's big, you know, in the last, you can see it develop over the
Yep.
years, and it's really good.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
We have Brian here and our other representative. Water quality is a real big issue, and what are going to be the effects on the town?
Okay.
As far as road runoff, et cetera, as part of the discussion.
Could I comment on that one, Dan?
Sure.
Earl, this is a real pet peeve of mine, because I, like you, are very fond of our lake. But unfortunately, as a select board member, pretty sure the state's the one that screwed this up, right from day one, when they mandated liquid manures. And I don't see why the select board should try to fix it. I think it's a state problem. The state screwed it up. I think the state should fix it. My personal opinion.
Yeah, but there are issues with road runoff.
Yeah.
That are, you know, what effect is that potentially could have on the town?
Okay, well, if I can, and then I'll have Mariana join me, because she's actually, first of all, the water quality bill was voted out of committee last week, of first committee of jurisdiction. Oh, it hasn't been voted out yet?
Yeah, it was on the radio today.
What?
H35 there, and that's not my committee.
It's not in your committee.
That's Fish and Wildlife.
Fish and Wildlife, that's right. Anyways, it was voted out.
Committees.
Right. It's going to go through, it started in Fish, Wildlife, Natural Resources. And then, and it's kind of really grown into a, you know, a 45 or 50-page bill. We all agree that the quality of the water, we can't just say the lake, because it's addressing all waters of the state of Vermont. But here is the lake is the primary concern. We all agree it needs to be cleaned up, no question. How we're going to pay for it is quite another discussion going on right now. The effects to the municipalities. First of all, the ANR fees that municipalities have been exempt under, and the state itself, they will no longer be exempt. So if there's an ANR fee, if you want to put in a road, it used to be exempt from paying for your permit, well, that goes away. There's a lot of stuff going around right now that some is people's ideas. These are all just ideas, nothing has been voted on. And this stuff, it's got to go to the Ag Committee, it's got to go to Transportation, it's got to go to Ways and Means, so it's got a ways to go. One of the things is is your runoff of impervious surfaces, which will be your roads, rooftops, parking lots, I mean, anything with a hard surface. Now, as it comes to the town, in addition to the A&R fees, there is talk that you're going to have to put in, including maintenance work on your Class 4 roads, of putting in the swales and the riprap and all that, and that goes into millions of dollars when you start talking about that all over the state. Again, these were just ideas flowing through. There's taxes on fertilizers being discussed. There's taxes and fees, you name it, they've talked about it. But ultimately, Ways and Means is the committee of jurisdiction, even though the chair of the Fish, Wildlife, and Natural Resources tried to take and say what fees and everything else need to be charged. It's still the committee of jurisdiction is Ways and Means, and it hasn't reached there yet. They even talk about a per parcel fee. So it'd be on your tax bill, but it would be a flat fee for every parcel of real estate. You know, it just, the list is almost endless. But we'll have to wait and see just what comes out in Ways and Means. But there will be cost effect to our local municipalities. And we're trying to watch it very carefully and have that effect minimal as possible. So, Mariana, do you want to add in on that, or?
Well, I think it's coming to us at some point, but.
It should be, yeah.
I believe it goes to Ways and Means first.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how it's gonna end up, because it gets changed one way and tweaked and.
Right. And then, you know, once it passes out of the House, it goes over to the Senate and goes through that same process again. So, I think something will pass this year.
Well, they determined something will pass.
But what exactly it will be, we'll have to wait and see. But, you know, there is money, there is money that can be taken from other programs that deal with conservation and put it toward that, and it would be basically, at this point, revenue neutral. We wouldn't have to increase any taxes, but certain people down there don't want to hear that. We'll keep working, we'll keep looking at that part of it. So that's what I have to say on that.
Brian, quick question. Is New York part of this cleanup as
No.
well, or just
No.
falling under just Vermont?
The EPA, and this makes no sense to me. The EPA runs by districts, and Vermont is in a different district than New York. So New York is not affected by this. This is just a Vermont problem, but it's the same lake.
Right.
Now, figure that one out. They say that New York, the problem that most of the phosphorus is not coming from New York, that they don't have the type of agriculture practices, they don't have as many farms, they don't have as much of impervious surfaces. And I said, wait a minute, anybody go over to the former Plattsburgh Air Force Base, you're talking miles of impervious surface. I mean, let's face it. So that, but yeah, the CLF won a lawsuit against the state of Vermont, and the EPA is on to the state of Vermont, and New York is not really affected by that. But that's out of our control, unfortunately. Any other questions on that?
Right?
Yeah.
Could you bring back to, you and Mariana, that to have them look at the registration of boats that have bathrooms on them? As you look at Mallets Bay, Shelburne Bay, all of those others, there's probably more boats on the lake than there are camps along the lake. And from what I understand, that the registration of these boats have gone up exponentially, but they're dumping into the mooring areas of their septage has remained level over the years. So that's telling me they're getting flushed somewhere. So if we're going to be beating up impervious soils and going after the farmers as hard as we are, we should be looking at the recreational vehicles also. Who is monitoring that and who's paying attention to that?
Well, that's a good point, and I certainly will bring that up. There should be a fee assessed or something along that line. So that's a good point. So we'll bring that up. The other thing too they've included in this is a 2 cent per gallon gas tax, and I know the Transportation Committee is having a real problem with that because the gas tax is supposed to be for transportation programs, not cleaning up the waterways. So just stay tuned. There's a lot of stuff happening. David?
Yeah, I wanted to answer Earl's question. Last fall, Harold Garrett and I applied for a grant to help line some of the roads that have people on Bashan Road and Comstock Road. A couple of weeks ago, we got notice that the state awarded us $18,000 to do that. So Harold and his crew will be working on that this summer. In the past, every year he's done ditch lining to help improve the ditches. And Reggie in the village has worked on drainage problems and to help keep the silt in the ditch and not in the lake. And also the select board adopted bridge and road standards, part of which include the proper way to build a ditch with the slopes and so forth. So the town and village in their own small ways are doing something to help in that regard.
Well, one of my concerns is, whether it's going to be a massive increase in cost in the highway budget to, make up for some mandate. And it sounds like you guys are preparing for it, and you're already moving in that direction, so the cost probably won't be that bad. But it's something that we need to keep in mind.
Okay. Any other public comment? Anybody have any questions for the fire department, police department, or rescue? Okay, so any other necessary business? Guys? Nothing? So do we need to go into executive session for anything? No? So I'd ask for a motion to adjourn. So motion's been made, second by John. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor to adjourn at 8 o'clock, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned at 8 o'clock. Thank you, everybody.